You're listening to Greater Good Radio Hawaii. Please visit us online at greatergoodradio.com. Today's guest is Lieutenant Governor Duke Aiona. Prior to becoming Lieutenant Governor, Mr. Aiona was appointed Administrative Judge of the newly created Hawaii Drug Court, which was highly praised.
So, Lieutenant Governor, in all the community efforts that you're doing right now, which one is the one that you're most passionate about?
Our drug control plan, which we developed, actually came out in print in 2005, the early part of 2005. But, we had a lot of preparation before that. And it started with a summit in October. No, I take that back. I think it was June of 2003, if I'm not mistaken. And we had that as well as a lot of what we called talk story events. We went around the community, and we had 13 different talk story events where we went to schools, and we just held evening community talk story events. And that probably was really enlightening for me because people came out. And I think what happened at that point in time is, I ran on the fact that I wanted to deal with the drug and alcohol problem that we have in this state. And, ICE has been around for a long time. When I was appointed to family court in 1990, actually it started before that. When I was about to leave the prosecutor's office, we already had word that there was going to be this drug that was coming into Hawaii. It was called crank. It was the biker's drug, they said. It was a powdered form of methamphetamine. And they said that was going to be making its way into the state. This is in the 80s, mid-80s, early 80s. And as you know, in the 80s, it was crack cocaine that was the big drug of choice back then. And I knew that was coming, and so I went to Corporation Counsel, which you deal with different issues on that side. That's the civil side, more or less. You deal with departments, the city getting sued for a broken bridge or roads, road maintenance, police brutality, things like that. So you didn't really deal with drugs and alcohol too much in that level. But as soon as I got appointed in 1990, I'll never forget my first day on the bench. It was on the what we call the Special Services Calendar, which is and I had the Child Protective Services Calendar. And you get about 60 cases that you have to do in 3 hours. And that's where my eyes just went, whoa. What I thought was the exception, well, it wasn't really the rule, but it wasn't the exception. And when I say what I thought, what I'm talking about is dysfunctional families. We had a lot of, and I really don't like that word dysfunctional. Let's use the word challenges. There were a lot of families out there that had many challenges. But as I started to, get to spend more time on that calendar and other calendars in family court, it was evident that the basis for many of these problems that they had was a result of drug and or alcohol abuse and addiction. So right then I knew that, it wasn't about what I knew in the law books. It wasn't about what people would tell me. I was dealing with real people who had real problems that needed real solutions that the law books and a lot of these service providers didn't have the answers to. In fact, there are many instances in which we didn't have enough services for many of these families. And so they would languish with the addiction or the abuse until they could get into treatment. So it was from that point that I said, there's got to be a better way of doing this. So when I went up to circuit court, I was assigned to the criminal bench, and I was sentencing people to probation. I'd get them back within a couple of years. And these were people who had drug problems. I'd get them back within a couple of years. And in a couple of years, they didn't do anything. They didn't get any treatment. They didn't get any work. They didn't commit any crimes, but they basically weren't doing anything. They just keep getting high. They're still getting high, and they were still addicted, and they couldn't get off of it. So I said, there must be something different. There's got to be a different approach to this. And that's when I got, if you want to put it, when I got turned on to drug court. I saw that it was an emerging concept in the judiciary. It was happening. It actually started in Florida in 1990, and it was now in about 100 different cities across the United States. And I said, we can do this, and I think this will work. And they said, well, sure, if you want to do it, you can go ahead and do it. And
what is it, drug court?
Drug court is really, it's like a carrot and stick type of approach. And the carrot is that people who are arrested and charged with a felony, and it had to be either a drug offense or something that was nonviolent and first-time offense. You'd have the opportunity to have that record clean if you went to drug court, you got into a program, and you completed the program within X amount of time. If you didn't, well, for my court at least, when I was the administrative judge, if you didn't, you go to jail, because in my mind, you had your chance at probation. That was your probation. And so it worked very, very well. It was very successful. A lot of people were skeptical about it initially because, and rightly so, the judiciary is not into treatment, and that we were basically doing treatment. So it went well. In fact, today, as we speak, we have drug courts in every circuit. As you know, we have different circuits. The various islands and counties are different circuits. We started only here in Honolulu, so now we have it in all circuits. In addition to that, we have juvenile drug courts. And we also have family drug courts. So we've expanded it tremendously. In fact, when I started, I told you there are only about 100 drug courts across the country. Right now, there's about 1,800 drug courts across the country. So the concept took off, and it works. It works. So to me, that's the thing that if you ask me what have I gotten involved in right now on the social side that really makes an impact on me, it's drug court and the work that I did in drug court.
Thanks for joining us today on Greater Good Radio. For more information or a transcript of today's show, please visit us online at greatergoodradio.com. This is your host, Evan Leong and Carrie Leong, saying please join us next time for another episode of Greater Good Radio Hawaii.